because Kovalenko is totally tied up. Like queen can't go to d4 because of rook a8. Rook can't move. Knight can't move because the bishop is hanging. And he's got 4 minutes on the clock and it's ticking down every second.
Oh, yeah. And you know, we made luff, right? So now our rook on a1 can just go to a7 and threaten all sorts of nasty stuff, particularly rook takes d7.
Exactly. Levon just smells blood and you can just sense it in his
Well, he's wearing the
play.
color for it. There it is.
He is.
Red glasses.
Yeah, red everything.
Yeah, you got that king in the background.
Rook a7, rook d8. Igor holding on for now. He's not checkmated yet.
So what's knight b6?
Definitely interesting.
Knight b6.
Queen c6.
And there's no queen d1 check and bishop b5 because I can just play queen takes c5. Your knight is pinned, so that's convenient. But
so he goes bishop g5. And the idea, I think, is after the trade, he wants to create an anchor point for the queen on f6. And if he can infiltrate to f6, obviously because the knight is pinned. And another problem, the queen f5, there's queen d6. So black has a very hard time holding down all of the infiltration squares.
Oh boy, that's for sure. And yeah, I don't know what is he going to do here?
This looks atrocious. Takes. The eval bar doesn't seem overly concerned. Rook f8. Man, Levon is playing so quickly. He's playing with fire here. Queen h4.
Okay. Another immediate move. And still queen d4. There's queen
f7.
So
I don't know about queen h4. I would have taken at least 30 seconds there. There were alternatives. You could have gone queen c7. You could have. There was stuff that Levon could have done there. Now this queen is a little bit out of the game, Jennifer. It's just not accomplishing all that much. And Levon sits up.
And now there's
maybe he realizes it.
Because now if knight b6, there's queen d1 check, and queen d6.
Great eye. Yeah. Well, no, not this move. Queen d6 with a fork.
And then suddenly black wins. Oof, not good. So we have, suddenly black has managed to defend everything. Like, even though his position still has lots of weaknesses, it's like the pieces are in that right configuration where everything is doing something.
And you can see the change.
The rook I was mocking just a few moves ago, now doing a great job defensively on f7.
Yeah, and you can see the shift in Levon's body language. He kind of sits up. I think he realizes that this is going to be, he's got a difficult task ahead of him. Kovalenko is not going gentle into that good night. The problem is that his clock might be going gentle into that good night. 2.5 minutes, and every move that Aronian makes, he puts more pressure, and it's so hard to play this with black. Every move takes time. Kovalenko doesn't have much of it left.
Well, that's his MO. Levon, that is why he made the move queen h4 quickly, because he was putting so much clock pressure on Kovalenko. But will it backfire? Well, king e8 was just played.
Yeah, typical Levon move here would be like to play b3 fast, anchoring the knight.
I like it.
Could be an interesting thought. Kovalenko, though, could potentially go knight e5 and try to essentially force as many trades as possible. That has to be calculated.
How do we get our queen back into the game? Because the queen on h4 now is not really sitting so pretty. It's really defending now.
That's why I thought b3 might be interesting, because it allows you to get the queen off of the fourth rank if you can release the burden of defending the knight.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. b3. We saw a really weird b3 from Kovalenko, I believe, a couple rounds ago. So, and you're right. If we get our queen to g3, we're introducing threats like knight d6 again.
Yeah.
So Levon, his first big think of the game since the Matza Gambit.
Indeed. Shall we have a 15-second look at the other top game, which is Sarana Fedoseev?
Let's see it.
So Fedoseev dropping down to Alexei, who has 3 out of 4. And another complete mess. White is down in exchange, but tons of pawns hanging everywhere. What's happening? This could be a draw, actually, if Fedoseev just sacks on e4. What's G4?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, and that looks like what. Oh no, G4. Okay, keeping some pressure here.
Rook d3. I think takes, and rook e5 could be an option, just hunting for that pawn.
Takes on f3 and then rook e5. Okay.
Rook e5 immediately. So he's pushing. He is pushing king h2. Okay, I guess we can go back to the Aronian. This one's not quite as interesting, I think.
Yeah. The Aronian is even more interesting, especially because they both have 3.5 points.
And rook a6 was played, and then you just put a knight on d6, and Kovalenko sacrificed his queen for that knight and the rook.
Oh, so he thinks he can get a fortress here. Look at the time, though. Levon had a huge time advantage, and now this is not going to be easy to break down. Now, the problem for Black is that he's got all these weak pawns, and even though he has them protected at the moment, the queen could sort of squirrel and zigzag around and try to overextend Black's pieces. What's happening with queen g3 check? There's e5. Okay.
Yeah, I guess e5. Yeah, maybe he still wants to induce that.
Maybe.
I would consider b4 here.
Just trying to open another avenue for your queen.
Exactly.
And then f takes on b4. There's queen takes b4. Check. Queen g3 was played, inducing e5.
Queen g4. Knight c6 by Igor. That's where he wanted his knight to go. This is looking very difficult to protect. He clusters his pieces together. That's the way you have to keep them. Otherwise, you're going to be susceptible to forks.
Right. The queen is so good with double attack.
c4. Ooh, ambitious move, but I don't know about that one. Now the pawn is undefended, but at least he creates a little space for his king on c5. So the king is not quite as cramped. Kovalenko offered a draw, which Levon didn't even think about.
So
I mean, White's not risking here.
So no time advantage anymore for Kovalenko, though. And that's the thing. In this position, it is true that White's the one who has to kind of figure out how to break through. Black's just trying to survive and knows he just has to keep his pieces defending each other.
And Levon hasn't had too many time scrambles, so he might not be used to, the kind of really fast play that's required. e4 by Igor, trying to trade pawns. He has to take with a rook. I mean, he's bit off more, but then there's queen g8.
Yeah.
Okay, but this pawn is not the end of the world.
Right, because you just have those doubled pawns. True. You just got those double G pawns. Doesn't matter if
it's a fortress. And it's easy to blunder a fork here. I know this sounds ridiculous, but it's so easy to step into a fork by accident, blunder something. Let's see, Levon.
Now you're talking to the people, Danya. That's right.
King e4, though. Uh-oh, Igor's pinned himself. He's so close to losing. Oh, this is close. Queen f2 check, king b5. He's still holding on. King e5 would walk into knight d3.
Okay, yeah, keeping us surprised of those knight forks.
Even queen f6 is a possibility here.
Ooh, queen f6. And if rook takes f6, pawn f6, that pawn is a queen.
Queen f1 instead. He's trying to go b3. What a sneaky little move. But his king is stuck in the middle. He's got to go king d4.
Trying to keep his queen on a white square, so there are no forks now.
This is okay. He keeps maneuvering king up to d6. The worst is behind White's king, that's for sure.
Okay, so what up now? Let's see. Can't we take that pawn on g5? That looks too risky.
It does, but at the same time, yeah, because then the pieces get disconnected.
Queen f7 maybe, threatening queen b7 check. Nervousness. Oh, b3.
b3, which the Eval bar didn't like, but it mates as knight a5, an excellent defensive move. Defending the pawn with a knight, I didn't even see that. I thought he had to defend it with a rook, but no. This might be the drawing move. Yeah, Pawn might have missed that too.
Surprising that we don't have any ways to play against your loose rook on g5, but if we play queen c1 here, you can just take on g2.
Yeah, or move the rook. There's an f5 square that's defended by the pawn. Levon down to 40 seconds. He's got to make a move here because if he's not careful, he's going to get flagged.
Yes, he can't do this.
Maybe just king f6 and make a draw. I think he might just settle for it. He's down to 28 seconds. No, he goes for it. Okay. This could backfire. Levon could lose this.
Yes, he could lose on time. He's only got 25 seconds left, 27 rather.
In fact, I don't like his decision to go for it. I thought he should have given his queen up, or I think he should give perpetual here.
Oh, yes, he can do that. Not
and
too
Kovalenko
late.
can go for it. Kovalenko could go a4 there, but he decides not to. Perpetual and an amazing defense by Igor.
Heroic defense. I mean, wow, how busted his position looked. It looked completely over.
It did.
How did he do it?
Maybe a little bit too much matzah, too little thinking by Levon. Got a little relaxed there, and all credit to Igor. That was phenomenal defense. And we saw Fedoseev there defeating Alexei Sarana, so he jumps out on top. Fedoseev having himself an amazing tournament. Dariush is going to win this game against Paravian.
Yeah, that king is cut off, right? That's the ticket. That's what we need to usher our pawn through.
Yeah, this is over. We have Amin against Bortnik. With Bortnik, who should be able to win this. Oh, this is a classic idea. You allow promotion, and then you play king b6, and there's no way to stop checkmate.
We're getting a lot of classic endgames. This is a beautiful one. Checkmate coming. And the last one, we also saw the Lucina position. So yes, endgame that you study come up over the board.
And another endgame here, as we saw a flag, and we see Dariush finishing that effort against Paravian. Another wonderful round. We saw Levon against Kovalenko ending in a draw. Fedoseev clear first with 4.5 out of 5. A lot yet to be decided. The top 8 qualify. We're going to see what happens in the last couple of rounds. So don't go anywhere. You're watching the Rapid Chess Championship presented by Coinbase. Round 6 on the other side of this break. Welcome back to the Rapid Chess Championship presented by Coinbase. This is the Saturday Swiss. Tomorrow will be the Sunday knockout. And the format is probably familiar to most players, but just to quickly recap, it's an 8-player single elimination. Top 8 players from today qualify. The time control, it's not 10 plus 0, it's 10 plus 2. So there will be an increment tomorrow. And if the game in the individual matchup is drawn, there will be 3 plus 2 game, then a 1 plus 1 game, and then an Armageddon. So Jennifer, plenty of action to look forward to tomorrow as well.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic. And speaking of fantastic, we've got a very principled battle on our board 1, the knights versus the bishops.
So this was interesting because Levon played a Berlin, and I think he expected Fedoseev to take the Berlin draw, but Vladimir actually goes for it. And this looks terrible for white. I feel like Fedoseev's going to get mated here if he's not careful.
Why does it look terrible? Because the G-file and the 2 bishops?
G-file, the 2 bishops, the knight on b3 is just not doing anything. Bishop g4, I mean, the white queen is almost trapped. I feel like anytime I see these types of positions in the Berlin, black always wins these. I'm very skeptical of what Vladimir is doing here.
Yeah, it is his move. Okay, so what do we do right now?
So he took and then he castled to the same side. Well, this is, of course, out of the question. Your queen gets trapped.
No.
Right.
Right
Not
away.
appetizing.
So what else?
Black threatens bishop g4.
Bishop g4. So do we have to play knight f5? No, queen f3.
Queen f3. So if queen h6, he wants knight f5. He wants knight f5 probably on the next move against most things.
And bishop d4 allows queen takes f6, and it seems like we live to tell the tale.
Yep, exactly. So from that perspective, some sort of a prophylactic move might be required, but I can't quite put my finger on what Levon should do. The issue with queen h6, knight f5 is that there's also knight e7 check, which you have to keep in account. But maybe you take on f5 and then go king b8 and then go rook g5 and double on the g file.
Yeah.
Simple and pretty strong, I think.
And we got to do something as white about that bishop on b6. Maybe starting with c4. Maybe we have to play c4.
Yeah, maybe you do.
Move, but the idea is rook d3 is not available yet because we have c5 trapping the bishop. And we would love it if you played c5 and killed your own bishop. So what are you going to do?
This reminds me, this is a random analogy, but a4, it's black plays a6. You almost getting to the bishop, but then it slinks away. It's like those displays at the Science Museum where there's an object, and I used to love those when I was a kid. You think it's there, but it's actually a reflection. So you keep grabbing it, but there's nothing actually there. It's like this bishop just keeps dropping back, a7, further and further back, but its shadow is towering across the whole position. So queen f8 and queen f3, and Levon continues to ponder his next move.
And you're right. I mean, that's the power of the bishop, that it can't just slide away, slither away. They should be called
and queen
snakes.
h6.
Queen h6 played, okay.
I think he's taking it. Yeah, Levon doesn't like to spend too long on these straightforward decisions. And Fedoseyev's still in a very difficult spot.
But what do you do against c4 then? So you can't take on d3. What did you say you were going to do after I played c4?
So c4 in this position.
Yeah.
Oh, there's rook takes d3 and if c5, I think rook g5 traps the queen.
Oh, no.
Wait, what am I missing? The eval bar is complaining. I don't see a square for the queen. What? Oh, this is insane. I think there's rook a d1 here. And if you take the queen after rook takes d3, there's the mate threat. No. So you're going to lose the rook, but not only are you going to lose the rook, you're going to lose the bishop there too. Like if black goes a6, I'll give you a check. I'll take the bishop and then I'll take the rook.
That's a crazy tactic. That's very unusual. It's like a combination of a whole bunch of different tactics, as a lot of high-level tactics are.
Extremely. So Fedoseyev instead went g3. c4 was really interesting. Rook g5 and rook dg8. So this is kind of what we expected. Now c4 is still possible here and maybe should be played.
Right, because you're piling up. You're getting close to actually threatening rook g3, right? One more heavy and you're going to be threatening it. So after queen h3, rook takes g3 will be a legit threat.
Yeah. No, I think you've got to go c4. No, he goes rook a1. So Fedoseyev doesn't seem too concerned about...
I guess after queen h3,